Welcome fans to Thursday Night Thunder, presented by Robert Wood Johnson. We're live here at Arm & Hammer Park on a beautiful day for some playoff baseball. The Trenton Thunder have lost 2 straight games to the Reading Fightin' Phils on Thursday Night Thunder, and were swept over the Labor Day weekend series. But there's some reinforcements coming to Trenton as Luis Severino will make a rehab appearance tonight. And Bryan, it's a little bit of a flashback to last year's playoff matchup where Severino took the mound.
Yeah, Severino back in Trenton for another playoff rehab appearance. Excited to get Severino out there for the struggling Trenton Thunder. Hopefully that will propel them to a win in the Game 1 of the Eastern League Division Series.
Absolutely, and 8 of the 9 starters in tonight's lineup for the Trenton Thunder were on that championship team last year as we look to defend our title. Severino takes the mound right after this on Thursday Night Thunder, presented by Robert Wood Johnson.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fights o'er the ramparts we watched were so gladly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Welcome fans to Thursday Night Thunder, presented by Robert Wood Johnson, as we take a look at Luis Severino. And I'm John Bodnar alongside Bryan Rock. And Bryan, a little flashback here to the playoffs last year as we begin the first round against Reading.
Yeah, a repeat for the Trenton Thunder here as Luis Severino is on the hill starting this one. For the Trenton Thunder in the playoffs. We saw this last year in the first round as well, as he tuned up a couple innings for the Thunder on his way back up to the New York Yankees. So yeah, a little bit of deja vu here for Thunder fans in the playoffs.
Yeah, we certainly got our fair share of attention on that playoff trip as we saw Severino, we saw Dylan Betances, Tyro Estrada in there as well. So a star-studded lineup. We like to call it Akroning our way to the championship last year. As we know, the Akron Rubber Ducks have had their fair share of Major League rehabs, and the Thunder falling victim in the past. And it was nice to flip the script a little bit, as they say.
Yeah, obviously you hate to be the one on the opposite side of this, especially in a playoff scenario when you're facing such a great talent in Luis Severino. As we see a leadoff ground ball that's held in with a little bit of trouble by Bryan over there, and was able to flip it over to Severino covering in time. So quick one out here in the top of the first. But yeah, you hate to be on that wrong side of that Major League rehab, especially in the playoffs. But, you know, it worked out for the Thunder last year, and we don't have any complaints about it this time around.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to have some fun here tonight as we see Game 1 of the Eastern League playoffs, and we're going to bring the fans some more trivia from live here at Arm & Hammer Park, and those have been a lot of fun. This trivia is definitely playoff themed, as we'll see coming up here at the bottom of the first inning, and some more great prizes. We've got some autographed baseballs, some more bobbleheads for our fans to win. It's great to see some of our fans coming down to the ballpark and picking up those prizes. But as we continue to look at Severino here, is that he works a 1-2 count. Severino was with us back, as we see a ball here to Park, and a nice little scoop there by Hoy. But Severino was with us during the 2015 season and really made a short stint in Double-A, just appearing in 14 games, 4-4 with a 3 ERA, but then made his way up to Triple-A and really dominated and made a quick path to the major leagues, but going 15-1 in Triple-A with a 2.90 ERA, struck out 130 batters. So Severino, not with a ton of minor league experience, made his way up to the big leagues, and has really been a staple of the Yankees pitching staff, and it seems that the Yankees are going to go as far as Severino is able to go and stay healthy.
Yeah, and that has been the early trouble with Severino in the past couple of years is the injuries carrying him, and going into a couple surgeries with his arm and things like that. So has definitely hurt him going forward, or in the past a little bit here. So going forward, the Yankees really hoping for him to stay healthy as he Ks up the third batter here in this inning, and that will do it here. Top of the first, trivia coming at you right now.
All right, fans, here we go. Our first Thunder trivia of the night. You know the rules. Make sure you're answering live here on Facebook and YouTube, or you can head over to Twitter, #Thunder Trivia. Make sure you retweet that tweet, or head over to Instagram and answer the questions live there on our Instagram stories. So, our first question of the night, which is presented to us by Founders Brewery, is who defeated the Trenton Thunder in our first playoff appearance in the 1995 Southern Division Championship Series? Make sure you answer right now. We already see those comments coming in, but make sure you head over to Facebook Live, YouTube Live, Twitter, or our Instagram stories. Again, the question presented to us by Founders Brewery: who defeated the Trenton Thunder in our first playoff appearance in the 1995 Southern Division Championship Series? And welcome back, Trenton Thunder fans, to Arm & Hammer Park for Thursday Night Thunder, presented by Robert Wood Johnson. As we see, tonight's starting pitcher for the Red and Fighting Phils is Spencer Howard, the second overall prospect for the Philadelphia Phillies, a guy that Phillies fans are hopeful for. And I think they're hopeful that if the Red and Fighting Phils were in the 2020 playoffs, that Howard would not be on this roster, as the hope is that he is in Philadelphia. But we see the first pitch there for him, a 95-mile-an-hour fastball, just a little high. But Bryan, Spencer Howard, a top guy that the Phillies fans hope to see in the red pinstripe soon.
Yeah, a lot of hope for Spencer Howard. Like you said, their number 2 prospect right now. So this is a guy, like you said, probably won't be in Reading in September, and has a good shot at not being in Lehigh Valley either. He's got some great stuff, and as long as he can keep it all together, he's got a quick path up to Philadelphia.
Yeah, and over the past few weeks, we've got to see 2 spectacular starts by another top Phillies prospect, Francisco Morales. But excited to see what Spencer Howard can do here tonight as he falls behind Florial 3-1. Definitely excited to see what he can bring to the table. But Florial will work a walk here, and Howard frustrated. But out of the dugout, we will see a fan-submitted video of a local bat boy, and we're happy to have him in the house here tonight. And fans, you can submit your videos, whether it's bat boy. We would love to see your home run derbies in the backyard, and you can be featured here on Thursday Night Thunder. So make sure you submit your fan videos to fun@trentonthunder.com. We'd love to see and hear from you all, as we see Ben Ruda with a pop-up here to left, easily fielded, and that'll keep Florial at first. But Howard, a 5-pitch walk to start the game. Not what you want to see out of him, but definitely has a lot of excitement for the up-and-coming.
Yeah, definitely. He made his way last year, and last year covered quite a bit. with he started down in the rookie ball, just getting himself back. But he spent a good amount of time with Reading and Lakeville last year. So we hope to get him up to the bigs quickly, as we see a stolen base here by Estevan Florial. And the speed on this guy is just pretty incredible, John.
Yeah, we've got to see Florial a little bit here on Thursday Night Thunder. I'm excited to see him in Trenton at some point. Obviously he's been on our roster before, but never got a lot of playing time. Injuries, as we talked about with Severino, have definitely haunted Florial. But Gittins here now with a runner on second, trying to get the Thunder out to an early lead, something that we've struggled with recently on Thursday Night Thunder, as we've dropped 2 straight to these Reading fighting Phils, and Thunder entering the playoffs on a losing streak, while Reading just the opposite. So a cold Thunder team really needs to get things going, and this is the great opportunity to do it here in the bottom of the first against a great starting pitcher.
Yes, definitely, and like you said, a hot Reading fighting Phil's team as they climb themselves all the way back to slide into this playoff spot here against Trenton. Something we witnessed happen over the last 2 weeks of Thursday Night Thunder, getting themselves to that 70-70 record, just at that 500 mark. But that's good enough to get them here get them here into the playoffs here, as we see Gittins work himself a walk. So Thunder are threatening now with 1 out and runners on first and second, as they hand it over to the speedy second baseman, but finding a little bit of pop in his bat this year is Hoy Park.
Yeah, and Hoy, obviously a celebrated player here around Arm & Hammer Park, and love to see what he can do. And like I said, jump on top of Reading early. It's just something we haven't seen recently on Thursday Night Thunder. It feels like we've been scrapping for hits, as we see Hoy Park drive this one to center field. That ball's going to drop in and mishandled by the center fielder, Moniak. Florial will have no problem scoring here, standing up, and the Thunder lead 1-0. How about that, Bryan?
That's exactly what we were looking for, John, after the last 2 weeks here. And the Thunder had an awful lot of trouble getting things going, especially in the early innings. So getting a run here early in the first, especially against Howard, and still threatening the first and second with 1 out, and with Brandon Wagner stepping into the box. This is Trenton Thunder playoff baseball, and this is what we've seen over the past few years. Is the Thunder have been so good into the playoffs, of now our 5th straight appearance here, and this is exactly how they wanted to start this series off.
Yeah, and we talked about last week just the attitude of the team, and kind of coasting into the playoffs. We've had a spot locked up for a while. Reading fighting for their lives, obviously a difficult opponent at any time, being a division rival, and just how close they are. The fan base is being so close. We talked about it, but the Thunder, seem to amp themselves up as we see an inside pitch, but really amp themselves up for tonight. Reading with all the momentum, the young starting pitcher on the mound. I think, having Severino really hyped them up, and Wagner, a guy that had a great season here with the Thunder, looks to continue, as that ball is swung on, and another ball hit well to center field and dropped in. Moniak having his trouble out there, getting grounding third, and he will score. The Thunder lead 2-0.
Yeah, Wagner gets a hold of it, a good ball hit, and Moniak just misplays it out there. Kind of in the middle, can't decide if he wants to kind of lay out for it or make a lunge or hold up and take it on the bounce. And he decided a little too late, bounces off his glove, gets past him just a bit. So just enough time for Gittins to get all the way around and score it. And now with second and third, and here comes last year's Eastern League playoff MVP in Kellen Degler.
Yeah, and I'm going to have to go over and talk to the official score there. I don't like that ball being ruled an error. Maybe on the advancement, but I think Brandon Wagner's going to have a little bit of an issue with that being ruled an error. Moniak definitely didn't take the best route, but I think that ball was dropping in.
Yeah, definitely a tough play there, and I would tend to agree with you. I think the ball was getting in, and if the error is there, it should be on the advancement from first to second. for Wagner, and he should be given a hit there. So, but with Deglin here and looking at this lineup, as Deglin swings one, puts one foul to the right side, of the 9 starters here tonight, not counting Severino, the 9 batters we have here, eight gentlemen here are going for back-to-back rings. So a team of loaded from top to bottom last year, and it's the same here today with the addition of Florial in the lineup this year. As Deglin puts one into center field, and Moniak finally makes a nice play. Having his troubles out there earlier, but a nice diving play, but that will still score Park from third. And now the Thunder are up 3-0. As we see that Moniak came up a little strained there, and it looks like he's going to be coming out of the game here, John.
That's a huge loss for Reading. A huge loss. I know Moniak has had his struggles in center field today, but he is such a big part of this lineup, and has really had a lot of momentum rolling with the Phillies. Just has dominated on Thursday Night Thunder. This is going to be a huge loss for Reading. As we're going to see Josh Stephen come into the game in center field, and he is not quite the same player that Mickey Moniak is. So a big loss here in the first inning, trailing now 3-0, losing Moniak. Reading's really going to have to pick themselves up.
Yeah, definitely kind of the opposite of what we've seen on Thursday Night Thunder here lately. So, a great start for the Trenton Thunder. And, unfortunately, you hate to see Moniak go down. You hate to see any player, end up having to come out of a game. So, we hope it's nothing serious for Moniak. But, the Thunder in a great spot already here to start this game 1 of the Eastern League East Division Series.
Yeah, and Isaiah Gillian, and I want to go back to your point as we continue on in this inning about just the depth on this team, the experience on the Trenton Thunder, and I think that's really going to carry in this series. On the flip side, a lot of youngsters on the Reading team. 8 out of 9 in this starting lineup with the experience of last year's championship run, looking to get back-to-back rings. We know they're hungry. They've proven themselves before, and now they just got to prove themselves again and capture this second ring potentially for the Thunder in back-to-back seasons. So a lot of excitement. The players obviously hyped up, a 3-0 lead. As we continue, and Isaiah Gillian working the count here on Howard, and the pitch count rising, 31 pitches so far this inning.
Yeah, exactly what you wanted to do here. Get Howard to throw a lot of pitches early on, and might as well do it in the first inning too, as Gillian fouled one off here with a 3-2 count, so he's still battling up there. And Wagner still hanging out there on second base. It'd be nice to bring him in. And as Gillian fouls another one off, a true battle here. This will now be the 8th pitch of this at bat for Gilliam against Howard.
Yeah, really working it. Going to get as we see him strike out, Spencer Howard with a fist pump. But we will take a break here with the Trenton Thunder leading 3-0 after 1. And welcome back to Arm & Hammer Park for Thursday Night Thunder, presented by Robert Wood Johnson. I'm John Bodnar alongside my co-host Bryan Rock, and we jump to the top of the 4th here with Severino on cruise control.
Yeah, Severino is dialed in here, has had no trouble at all. Looks great out there in his 4th inning of work, almost 45 pitches. So seeing exactly what we expected here out of Severino.
And fans, we were just so excited to get to playoff baseball that we didn't show you the lineups there in the first inning. So we're going to jump to the lineups presented by our friends over at Special Olympics New Jersey. We want to thank Special Olympics New Jersey for their continued partnership with the Trenton Thunder. Bryan, as we look at this Reading Clayton Phil's lineup now, obviously Moniak, who was hitting 6, out of the game for Josh Stephen. But a good lineup that has produced here on Thursday Night Thunder. But the big leaguer, dominating so far. Severino, 48 pitches coming into this inning and just mowing them down so far.
Yeah, Severino has looked good. The fastball is there, has the command of it, which is one of the biggest things for Severino is commanding that fastball, as we see one high and outside at 98 miles an hour for a strikeout here. So, Severino has looked dialed in for sure, and, that arm and everything about him looks real healthy here this evening.
Yeah, Severino, that's his third strikeout of the game so far, a PNC Bank strikeout from him. But just, like you said, dialed in, looks good. Obviously, the Yankees expect a lot out of him. And, this offseason with the Yankees acquiring Garrett Cole, really saw the need to enhance the pitching staff. But I think a little bit had to do with the fears of Severino as we see a deep ball hit the right field. That one, a no-doubter by Bryan Stott, and the youngster puts Redding on the board. Severino obviously disappointed in that pitch, but it'll be now 3-1 Thunder, but just a moonshot there by Stott.
Yeah, an absolute no-doubter, as you said, John, to get Redding on the board. The first bad pitch we've seen from Severino. As you see the replay here, it's just right down the middle. Misplaced it, of course, and Stott got all of that one for sure. That'll be a nice confidence boost for Stott, but we'll see how Severino can respond here after giving up a run.
Yeah, absolutely. 106 off the bat, and like I said, and no doubt about it, and still lead 3-1, but that could be a potential momentum shift here for Redding in the middle innings. And Severino just needs to calm down, get right back to it. Obviously, like we said, his first bad pitch of the game. You hope that you can sneak one by him, but Stott wasn't letting that go by. And I get back to my point about Severino and the Yankees and going after Garrett Cole, committing obviously a monster contract to him. Severino, as the young pitcher, the hope was that he would slide into the A spot, as we see Severino bounce back nicely with a strikeout there, his fourth of the game. But the worries about Severino's health and becoming that ace that the Yankees know that they need. We've seen World Series champions of recent years have the catalyst of the ace at the top of that lineup that's going to go out there every 5 days and shut down and dominate. And that's exactly what Garrett Cole is. But if Severino can stay healthy, a true one-two punch to be dealt with for 7-8 years.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you said, that main concern is him staying healthy, and it's been a bit of an issue over the past couple of years here of late. But when healthy and when he's there, he is 100% dominant, as we've seen. And yes, having that 1-2 punch, and it's kind of the one things that the Yanks were really looking for is having another top-notch arm at the top end of that starting rotation. So you go out there and you spend the money for Garrett Cole, and well worth money. If you ask me, Garrett Cole has proven himself in not only Pittsburgh but in Houston as well, where he was most recently from. So a no doubt talent for Garrett Cole and worth the money. As we see a ball driven here to right center field that will bounce up off the wall, fielded by Florial, gets it into the cutoff, and that will be a double here by Austin Listy here in the top of the fourth. So another hit here in the top of the fourth off of Luis Severino. But having that 1-2 punch at the top, especially come playoff time where you're not going to a full 5-man rotation and you need 2 or 3 no doubt arms to start with. Garrett Cole and Luis Severino are a good 1-2 as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, and then the luxury of that Aaron Boone has up there, in a potential Game 3 of a playoff series to hand the ball to a guy like James Paxton, not so bad either.
Yeah, James Paxton here, Masahiro Tanaka as well. So Boone is in good shape here as a pop up to Hoy Park and do it here in the top of the fourth inning.
Welcome back, Trenton Thunder fans, to Thursday Night Thunder, presented by Robert Wood Johnson. As Kellen Deglin will step into the box here tonight. Beautiful, sold-out Arm & Hammer Park for this playoff game. Fans are excited to see, what the Thunder can do here as Spencer Howard continues his day. Redding getting on the board last inning, and Bryan, we see the Moniak injury, really coming into play that last inning. He would have been due up with a runner on second base with the potential to cut the lead to 1. Obviously, Josh Stevens not able to get the job done. We've talked about how they're going to miss Moniak, and in a short series, unlike a 7-game series up in the major league level, obviously we're only talking about a short series for this first round, best of 3. So that is one that is really going to impact this series.
Yeah, Moniak having a great year, hitting above 260 on the year. So really came into the postseason playing well, and he was playing well as we've seen on the past couple episodes here of Thursday Night Thunder. So that definitely will hurt this Redding lineup. Moniak, a big contributor to it, as we see a fly out here by Deglin to left center field. A lengthy run there by the left fielder to get that. A nice play by Jose Pools. And as Isaiah Gilliam steps in, and we will show you here the Trenton Thunder ELCS Game 1 starting lineup presented by Special Olympics of New Jersey.
Yeah, and we take a look at this lineup, and we've talked about it already, just the experience that they have, and, really a luxury, I think, at this level. Double-A, it's about getting these guys development. You usually don't see a team built for multiple playoff runs, and just the fact that we're seeing this, I think it's got to be exciting for that clubhouse as well, being able to run it back and go for a second ring. These guys are used to being up and down and new teammates all the time. Definitely some excitement. We heard it buzzing in the locker room earlier, especially after losing 2 straight to Redding, and these guys are ready to go. And it's highlighted by the MVP of last year, Chris Gittins, the playoff MVP, Kellen Deglin. Just an exciting roster, and one these fans are used to.
Yeah, it's always nice to have a close-knit group of guys, and like we said earlier, when you pull 8 of 9 back into the second run to run it back, and then the only position you're adding to is the big prospect of Estevan Florial. There can't be much argument there. And as Gilliam here works a walk here in the bottom of the 4th. So, having that group of people that have been together for so long, it definitely helped this team out for sure.
Yeah, we see Kyle Holder step into the box here. Obviously, Spencer Howard had the rough first inning, but then really shut the Trenton Thunder down the second, getting a 1-2-3. Moving over to the 3rd inning, another walk to Gittins, but then back-to-back strikeouts of Park and Wagner. So has really settled in nicely. You see the walk there of Gillian, so hopefully we can get to this guy. 4th inning, 75 pitches. Redding's bullpen is going to be a factor in tonight's game.
Yeah, for sure, and that's going to be probably 3 or 4 innings out of the bullpen. Howard has bounced back nicely after that first, as you mentioned, and has a chance to maybe get through, if he can get through this one quickly, maybe go through another inning. But you also don't want to extend that arm too much, especially here late in the season, with the chances. As we mentioned, here's that Redding bullpen getting a little busy here. So we expect to see the Redding bullpen here in full force for a majority of this game.
Yeah, despite the bounce back from Howard, it just seems like every guy is working the count as we see another deep count here, 3-1. Howard's not getting these guys out quickly. Obviously, strikeouts as well. He's working in, and the Thunder are presenting problems even on their outs. Quality at bats here tonight as we see Holder take another pitch to work us to 3-2. The eyes on Holder there to take that pitch. Really working this count, as this will be pitch number 80 coming. Just good at bats across the board, even on the outs. Thunder management has to be excited about what they're doing here tonight, as we'll see Holder strike this one, but a nice play by Howard. He'll flip it over to second, and that's going to be a double play. So just like that, Spencer Howard gets out of danger. We will pause here for a break. We'll be right back after this. And welcome back to Thursday Night Thunder live here at Arm & Hammer Park. Tonight's game is brought to us by Robert Wood Johnson, and we want to thank Robert Wood Johnson for everything they're doing in these difficult times. We appreciate their partnership, love their partnership, and are just very thankful as we see Luis Severino continue here in the top of the 5th inning. 62 pitches so far on the day, obviously given the home run up last inning. Other than that, pretty much smooth sailing for Severino as he makes his way potentially back to the Bronx. But we talked about Severino being here last time for this playoff run. So a little bit of deja vu. It would be nice if we could have had another rehab, but we've been fortunate enough on these past 3 Thursday Night Thunders to have high-profile rehab appearances. Aaron Judge and Bryce Harper, obviously in the last 2 games, and then Luis Severino tonight, as we see a poke that'll just sneak over the glove of Boyd Park and drop in for a base hit. So some more trouble maybe for Severino, to start off this 5th inning.
Yeah, and a familiar force at that in Logan Forsythe. Saw earlier in the at bat is Forsythe was 3 for 13 off Severino. So they have definitely had their battles throughout the last couple of years. So a little bit of a rivalry there between Severino and Forsythe.
Yeah, obviously Logan Forsythe, the guy that has spent some time in the major leagues. We've talked about that over the past few weeks. So just the depth bat, and we talk about the experience that the Trenton Thunder bringing here tonight. But Logan Forsythe, obviously having the major league experience, I don't think the AA playoffs are going to, create too many butterflies. Obviously, there's going to be, the going out there every night butterflies, but I don't think he's going to be cool, calm, a leader in that locker room that, even trailing 3-1, is going to be able to settle some of these young guys down.
Yeah, and you kind of start seeing that more and more nowadays is bringing in that that former major leaguer, that veteran guy, whether he was a 13-year career or even if it's 4 or 5, bringing them in and having them help out the minor league guy, not necessarily too much at the AA level, but that's definitely at the AAA level. Bringing a guy that one you could rely on in the bigs if an injury were to happen, but a guy that'll help work with the players here. The fly ball deep to left field is tracked down, and that will have one out here in the top of the 5th, as we see a couple arms in the Thunder bullpen start to work. So we didn't expect too much out of Severino so far today, this far, but has played well, and so they've given him the distance here. But like I said, you see a couple teams bringing in this big leaguer to work with these guys in the minor leagues and kind of teach them how to be true professionals, and so they're ready to go to the bigs, and that means a lot to these kids to learn from a major leaguer for sure.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's a real luxury for these teams to have almost like an extension of the coaching staff, and I mean we've seen it more and more. Guys transitioning from being a player to being a coach, and we've seen it with major league managers, our own and Aaron Boone, but guys like Brad Ausmus and David Ross, almost jumping like right from the playing field to being the head guy at a level, and I think it's those years of experience of obviously with Ross and Ausmus, having the experience behind the plate, calling the game. Catchers just seem to translate to the next level. But a guy like Aaron Boone, not necessarily a superstar, but somebody that just has that, just understands it and really gets it. As we see another ball hit here to left, this one easily playable and tracked down and throw back into the infield. But, we're seeing this, the transition of the players to coaches more and more. Another guy, Alex Cora, that just seem to be these utility type players, the step in guys, but just seem to know what's going on and how to manage a team. And a lot of them have had strong success very early on in their careers.
Yeah, more and more. Yeah, like you said, and and it's never it's not that big time guy, that former MVP or but it's those smaller guys, as we see ground ball here to short, and that will do it here in the top of the 5th. But hang on, we have more Trenton Thunder Thursday Night Trivia with John Bodnar coming up after this.
All right, Trenton Thunder fans, get ready for our second round of trivia here tonight. You guys know the rules: Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram. First, we will reveal the answer to our first trivia question, which was, who defeated the Trenton Thunder in our first playoff appearance in the 1995 Southern Division Championship Series? The answer? Well, we gave it away. We're playing them here tonight. It is the Reading Phillies. That question was brought to us by Founders Brewery. And here we go. Our second trivia question of the night, presented to us by Waste Management, is: can you name all 4 Eastern League postseason most valuable players? Again, the question presented to us by Waste Management: can you name all 4 Eastern League postseason most valuable players? And I should add that played for the Trenton Thunder. Obviously a lot more than 4 in Eastern League history. But all these players played for our 4 championship teams. Looking for all 4 correct answers for you to win a great prize. Now back to Thursday Night Thunder. And here we are back for Thursday Night Thunder, presented by Robert Wood Johnson. A beautiful night here at Arm & Hammer Park as Spencer Howard comes out here for the bottom of the 5th. Bryan, we talked about the Thunderbacks wearing him down tonight, but he was able to get out of the last inning pretty much unscathed after getting a double play ball. I think Reading hoping to get one more inning out of Howard tonight.
Yeah, not super surprised that we see him in the 5th, but I did have my doubts if we were going to see him for another inning, as Angel Aguilar strokes went through the infield to right field, and he's going to be on board for our leadoff single here in the bottom of the 5th, pumping up the dugout as we've been doing all night here for the Trenton Thunder. So far, a great outing, and has really gotten to Spencer Howard, especially early. But yeah, a little surprised to see him here in the 5th inning, but I think the double play at the end of the 4th kind of propelled that decision.
Yeah, absolutely, and it looked sharp, minus a walk here and there. Looked like he had picked his momentum back up after the struggles there in the first inning, really settled down. We talked about, though, the long at-bats, and I think that's what's really, wearing on him now as he's up to 84 pitches in this game. Just the great at-bats as we saw Florial take a pitch to start this one, and another ground ball is going to sneak through for Esteban Florial, and that's going to be back-to-back singles here in the 5th inning. And as we see the manager approach the stairs, I think that is going to be it for Spencer Howard as we take another look at Florial's single. Never a chance there for the second baseman. And yes, Reading manager going to go to the bullpen here as we take a look at who's going to come into tonight's game. This pitching change is going to be sponsored by Imperial Dade. We want to thank Imperial Dade for their continued partnership here with the Trenton Thunder. Bryan, the Reading Fighting Phils, going to turn this one over to the bullpen is going to be Luis Carrasco, the 6'3", 25-year-old, coming in here in a tough situation with runners on first and second.
Yeah, a tough situation here for Carrasco. But, to the point of Spencer Howard had really settled down after that first inning. And, actually looking here at my scorebook, John, here coming into the 5th inning, we were being one hit. Up 3-1, but that's just the one hit by Hoyt Park in the first inning. A couple walks and some sac flies were able to get us there as we see a fly out to start off Carrasco's appearance. But, only having the one hit. So Howard was doing what he needed to do, especially after that, as another fly ball to deep left, but it was tracked down here by the left fielder. A quick throw in, and it's not going to be far enough to get the runners to advance. And here comes Hoyt Park.
Yeah, and the error from Moniak there in the bottom of the first inning as well helped propel the Thunder offense. But yeah, just one hit as we continue to see our struggles on Thursday Night Thunder. Luckily, ball's kind of bouncing the right way, especially in center field here tonight for the Thunder, for us to take a 3-1 lead. And I think that's kind of what the Reading manager is thinking here is, he kind of, dodged danger of tonight with Spencer Howard working a high pitch count, but only the one hit. Thunder not taking advantage of all their opportunities, thinking, okay, I need to get out of this inning, keep it 3-1, so to give the Reading bats a fighting chance here. As we talked about a short series, the importance of game 1 also important here in a 3-game best of 3 series.
Yeah, absolutely. A 5-game series. That first game means a whole heck of a lot, and the Thunder will play the first 2 here at Arm & Hammer Park, or first 3 here at Arm & Hammer Park, and then we ship off to Reading, PA. So you kind of hope to knock it out at your home ballpark. You don't want to travel at all to rest the guys as much as possible. As Boyd fouls one here down the left field line, and he's in a little bit of a battle here with Carrasco. So back to those just battling here. As a pitch low that he'll take for ball 3 onto a full count here with runners in first and second. and 2 away. So the runners are going to be moving on the pitch here from Carrasco as it's into Hoy Park. And Hoy Park gets a hold of this one and puts it to deep right center field. That will bounce up and rattle against the wall as Aguilar and Florial both come around to score. Park's in the second with a 2 RBI double, and the Trenton Thunder are up 5-1 here in the bottom of the 5th.
Hoy Park having himself a night, picking right where he left off as far as postseason activity goes. We've seen a number of balls hit out to that gap and have really done some damage. But Hoy Park, with picking up his 3rd RBI of the night, has been a star on Thursday Night Thunder, a star for this Trenton Thunder lineup. And just seeing why, he was an Eastern League All-Star, back-to-back years here, obviously made the trip to Richmond last year and the virtual trip to Binghamton this year. But Hoy Park just coming up clutch and putting the Thunder up 5-1 here in the bottom of the 5th.
Yes, Brandon Wagner here steps in the box, and he takes a strike there to make the count 1-1. And Hoy Park has just been just incredible this year, and I think a year that he needed to have to really propel his career onto the next level. He's definitely going to find himself a nice spot in Scranton in the near future. This is what he needed to do, and build a little power here, over 20 home runs, and hit the ball well, a pitch inside, and not far enough away from the catcher for Park to move up. So he stays there at second with the count 2-2 here with 2 outs.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see what the plan is long-term with Hoy Park. Obviously, the Yankees will have a decision to make after this year with DJ LeMahieu, whether or not he will re-sign. But we've seen some infielder, a lot of infield talent, more at the depth level, I'd say, for the Yankees. Definitely have some quality players, but you don't know if there's going to be, if that guy is on the roster right now, that may take over at short or second, wherever they end up trying to play Glaber. But we've seen guys like Andahar and Glaber Torres that look like they're going to be stars as we see a ball hit here. And we can pick up this conversation next inning, as that'll be the final out of the inning. But the Trenton Thunder do get 2, take a 5-1 lead here after 5. Welcome back, Trenton Thunder fans, to Thursday Night Thunder, presented by Robert Wood Johnson. We are live here at Arm & Hammer Park as Luis Severino continues his work here in the top of the 6th inning with the Trenton Thunder now leading the Reading Fighting Phils 5-1, and a quick pop-up right here from Nick Martini as that'll be one away. And Severino, this will probably be his last inning of work if he even gets through this inning with the pitch count of, this will be pitch number 80 here as Bryson steps back into the box. But Bryan, I want to pick back up our conversation that we were having last inning just about the future of the Yankee infield, and specifically we were talking about Hoy Park and just the decision that they're going to have to make with DJ LeMahieu, being 32 years old, probably going to want a 4 to 5 year contract to close out his career, and probably a top dollar as we see Stott single up the middle. Strictly just this will probably be LeMahieu's last contract of his career. It took a little bit of a short-term deal, a little less money than he probably would have gotten had he been coming off his almost MVP caliber season. But decisions, Yankees, we talked about, seem to have a lot of depth at the infield position, but guys that you don't know if they translate to MLB starters, and Hoy Park being one of them.
Yeah, a lot of depth for the Yankees at that infield area, as and you start with the top, and he's not a depth guy at all in Glaber Torres, and a guy that played second base the past 2 years, and now, and it's transitioning now to play shortstop. He's got that ability to play anywhere, really, which kind of helps the Yankees a little bit here. I know they don't want to have him bounce around from second and short year after year, because he is going to be an MVP candidate for years to come, and but a lot of depth for that, and and unfortunately it's just depth. There's a couple young guys down in the minors, and then I've spent some time in the majors as Tyler Wade and Thairo Estrada, and guys that have filled in and filled the holes. And Wade is a great utility guy, in my point of view, and can play a lot of different positions. He can play second, he can play short, he can play third and can play the corner outfield as well, as they kind of started working that into his repertoire as to be the all-time utility guy, and that's kind of what he's always been. And Estrada really hasn't had a huge chance up in New York. So it would be interesting to see what the Yankees do plan to do in this offseason. With LeMahieu most likely going to walk and look for some big money, and we'll see what kind of free agents are out there, whether they're second base or even shortstops. If they can find a younger shortstop and kind of lock him up for a bigger deal, and then you move Gleyber back over to second base, and that's where he'll stand.
As we see a walk here by Pujols, and I believe that is going to be the end of Luis Severino's day and rehab appearance at Arm & Hammer Park, as the fans rise to their feet to give Luis Severino a standing ovation as he exits this ball game. But the Thunder are going to go to the bullpen here, and tonight's pitching change is brought to us by Chrohn Trophy. We want to thank Chrohn Trophy for their continued sponsorship of the Trenton Thunder. But the bullpen, this will be a bullpen game from here on out, with Miguel Yajure coming into the game.
Yes, Miguel Yajure, another one of those guys that was spent some time with the Yankees or with the Trenton Thunder last year in that championship run. A real young guy, but has some really good stuff to him. Was kind of surprised when I saw him last year, and I didn't really hear the name much until he was on his way to us. And when he was here, he really stood out in the short term he was here with us. He spent 2019 between Trenton and Tampa. Posted an 8-6 win-loss down in Tampa last year, and picked up one win with the Thunder. But only 2 games here with the Thunder. But he was very good in those games. And only giving up 1 earned run in 11 innings of pitching here in Double-A level.
Yeah, we've talked about just the luxury of arms out there in the bullpen at the Thunder Exposal. As we see a ball hit here, we're tracked down, quickly thrown back into the infield. So 2 outs here. Yajure doing a good start here to his night, but getting back to just the direction that the Yankees might take, and if you want to commit to DJ LeMahieu, and a lot of questions. So if you're Brian Cashman, looking at this offseason that's ahead of us, do you commit to DJ LeMahieu at 32 years old, at least for the next few years, or do you go and get a guy like potentially Marcus Semien, who's going to be a free agent, 30 years old, a pretty good defensive shortstop, has put together some good offensive campaigns out there in Oakland, or do you go after another guy out there in the market, a little bit older, Andrelton Simmons, and really shore up your defense. But the big question, or do you look for another potential 1-year replacement or 2-year replacement like they had with LeMahieu, but signing a guy to a 1-year deal and kind of waiting out? We see hit by a pitch here, so the bases look like they'll be loaded here for the Thunder. But looking ahead to the 2021-22 class of Francisco Lindor, Carlos Correa, Javier Baez, Corey Seager, Trevor Story, obviously not all those guys are probably going to hit the open market. We already heard the rumors of, the trade rumors of Francisco Lindor last year. But, do you look for a bridge player to maybe play second base, a Thairo Estrada, a Corey Park, look at the free agent market? Like, what are you doing if you're Cashman? Because there is no guarantee that one of those big guys is going to hit the market and sign with New York.
Yeah, definitely an interesting spot there to be in. That class 2 years from now is very talented, and like you said, I don't expect all 6 of those guys to be there when we hit that free agency time. And as those days dwindle down, I wouldn't be surprised if Cashman tries to make a splash as well, and puts an offer in Cleveland's plate for a Francisco Lindor to take over the shortstop duties for the New York Yankees and move Gleyber over to second. So that's always a possibility as well, especially teams wanting to get rid of, knowing that they're not going to be able to sign them, to try to get rid of them. As we see another strikeout here by Miguel Yajure, and that'll do it here in the middle of the 6th. 5-1 Trenton. We'll be right back after this.
Hello, Trenton Thunder fans, and welcome back to beautiful Arm & Hammer Park. It's a little windy here today, so I hope you all can hear me. But we're going to bring you the Arm & Hammer Aerosol Can Race. Over here you see Simply Saline and Miss Batiste, and next to me is my trusty co-host, Kaboom. He's sitting out today. He is currently on the DL after he took quite a spill in the Arm & Hammer Disney Fat Race a couple weeks ago. So he's on the DL, so we'll have Simply Saline going up against Miss Batiste. The idea of this race, they're going to race down, they're going to get their bottles, their aerosol can bottles, there's 3 down there for each, get them back into our waste management trash can here. So guys, on my count, Miss Batiste, are you ready? Simply Saline, are you ready? 3, 2, 1, go! There they go. Neck and neck from the start. Simply Saline falling behind, but the closing speed there. Saline in a slight lead. Batiste getting a little rough out there, but here comes Simply Saline. Oh boy, Miss Batiste, a little bit of cheating, I think. And there goes Simply Saline. Let's see if he can find it. He's got to take a run. Miss Batiste grabs the last can. Let's see if Simply Saline can come back. No, Miss Batiste is going to take the win. What a race there. Miss Batiste pulls this one out, and that is how we do the Arm & Hammer Aerosol Can Race. And welcome back, Trenton Thunder fans, to Thursday Night Thunder, presented by Robert Wood Johnson. I'm John Bodnar alongside Bryan Rock. And Bryan, as we pick up here in the bottom of the 6th inning, talking about really the future of the New York Yankees as we see a number of these Trenton Thunder players, and we talked about earlier, just the depth that this team has with 8 of the 9 starters being in last year's lineup, and just like what the future could bring. And you brought up the possibility of Cashman maybe going out this offseason trying to trade for him for a Francisco Lindor, get ahead of what the free agent market is going to look like a year down the line, get him a year in New York, get him comfortable, and then potentially signing him to a long-term extension. Looking around an infield of Luke Voigt, Gleyber Torres, Francisco Lindor, a combination of Andahar and Urshela, and then Gary Sanchez behind the plate for years to come. Something that is very attractive, as you have an outfield of Stanton and Aaron Judge. Just a lineup without holes, and that's what we've been used to here in New York. Truly, and then going out and picking up pieces like Edwin and Encarnacion, just a luxury that not really needed, but hey, they're the Yankees, they're going to go do it. So getting a guy like Lindor, as we see Deglin pop out here to center field, could be the route that the Yankees go. And we talk about the depth of the minor league system. There are guys that are expendable at this point in their careers, and eventually, rather than say losing them to the Rule 5 draft or seeing their trade value go down, take advantage of that and take advantage of a team like Cleveland, that knows they're not going to be able to re-sign Lindor. We saw them trade Corey Kluber this offseason for basically next to nothing. If the Yankees are able to go out and pull off a deal like that for Lindor, it just seems like something that Cashman's going to be able to do.
Yeah, for sure. And you never put it behind you with Brian Cashman, and he's done a lot of great things with the Yankees organization, making trades as well as the signing. And in a couple years, they're going to have to, as well. I'm sure it's on his mind is, they're going to have to start paying some of these guys where Aaron Judge is going to be outside of his arbitration and is going to need a contract, as well as Gleyber Torres and Gary Sanchez. These guys are going to want big-time contracts, as they should, as they are big-time players. So, that comes with another decision with Cashman is, do you pay the guys you have now? Do you, try to go and get someone cheaper? So, and the Yankees have done both, and, it'll be interesting to see what he does with these guys, but a lot of parts locked up as we see Isaiah Gilliam striking out here to put 2 away here in the bottom of the 6th. It'll be interesting to see what Cashman does, and they do have a lot of depth at some positions, and the infield is something that middle infield is something that I'm going to be interested in watching how it turns out after this all season with LeMahieu, and a lot of big pieces in the outfield with Judge and Hicks, Stanton. You think this is Gardner's probably last year in pinstripes, and what a career he's had in New York. A true Yankees guy coming through the system and playing for the Yankees for as many years as he has. But then you have Mike Tauchman who really came into his own last year, as well as a big prospect from a couple years ago in Clint Frazier. So the outfield looks to be in good hands out there. But that middle infield and not only the depth but that starting position after LeMahieu will be a big portion of Cashman's next 2 seasons for sure.
Yeah, you just expect the Yankees to make the splashy move, right? I mean, that's just what we're accustomed here in New York is there's a guy out there, the Yankees are going to figure out a way to go get him and get the deal done. And, you didn't see that with the Manny Machado and the Bryce Harper, but I feel like it's coming. I feel like they're gearing up as we see Kyle Holder ground out. And that will do it here in the bottom of the 6th inning. We will pause now for some Thunder trivia right after this. All right, Trenton Thunder fans, welcome back to Thunder Trivia playoff style. As we will reveal the answer to our last trivia question, which was brought to us by Waste Management. Can you name all 4 Eastern League postseason most valuable players that played for the Trenton Thunder? The answer, Matt Carson, Austin Jackson, Ali Castillo, and of course last year's MVP, Kellen Deglin. Now to this round of trivia. This one presented to us by the Princeton Mercer Regional Chamber of Commerce. Which Thunder player stole home in the 2019 Eastern League Championship? Again, trivia brought to us by Princeton Mercer Regional Chamber of Commerce. Which Thunder player stole home in the 2000 Eastern League Championship? You know how to play. Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter. Now, back to more Thursday Night Thunder. And welcome back, Trenton Thunder fans, to Thursday Night Thunder, presented by Robert Wood Johnson. We want to thank Robert Wood Johnson for sponsoring tonight's Thursday Night Thunder. And we're live here at Arm & Hammer Park, and in the first round of the playoffs, Trenton Thunder leading 5-1 as we enter the top of the 7th. Miguel Yajure still on the mound. Just a few outs to go here, Bryan, and a commanding 1-0 lead for the Trenton Thunder would be huge as we try to capture back-to-back titles.
Absolutely, and like we mentioned earlier in the broadcast, John, is that game 1 is so important in a best of 3 series or a best of 5 series, first of 3. That's a big momentum change in getting that first win, especially here in your own home ballpark.
Yeah, and defeating a rival as we see a ground ball here to shortstop, easily played by Kyle Holder, and a nice scoop there by Brandon Wagner to get the first out. But yeah, I mean, it's in a best of 5 series, being able to capture the games at home. I mean, you go into a series where you only need to pick up 1. After if you're able to go up 2-0, and these guys are, once they go down to a winner-take-all game, it's tough, and it's tough to come back, and we've seen it on both sides of the Trenton Thunder falling behind, but then also the Trenton Thunder being able to take that advantage. And you see the other clubhouse and kind of their attitude as they go into the game. Half of them just seem like they want to pack up and go home at that point.
Yeah, and obviously all these guys have the the mindset they all want to win, of course. Whether it's at the minor league level or major league level, they do want to win. And after a long season that spring get your spring training going in March, and now here into this first week of September, second week of September, it's a long season for these guys for sure. And when they go down 0-2, as Yajure strikes out, gets a strikeout there, and a quick 2 outs here for Miguel Yajure in the top of the 7th. These guys, if you go down 0-2, and you don't necessarily want to go home, but you have it on the mind. And after a long year being away from friends and family and sleeping in your own bed at home, it's definitely the thoughts that cross your mind for sure.
Yeah, just the uphill climb of having to come back and win. You have to win 3 straight games, and all do or die as we see it pop up here. And that's going to conclude the top of the 7th. A quick inning. We will pause here for the 7th inning stretch for God Bless America and Take Me Out to the Ball Game.
the light from above, from the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans, white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, my home. Sweet home, America, my own America, my home.
104, row H are getting New Jersey Lottery loose change tickets. Good luck and start scratching.
Happy birthday, George. Happy birthday, George. Take me out to the ball game. Take me out to the crowd. Buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jacks. We don't care if we ever come back. So it's root, root, root for the home team. If we don't win, it's a shame. For it's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out at the old ball game.
Welcome back, Trenton Thunder fans, to Thursday Night Thunder, presented by Robert Wood Johnson. This inning will kick off with a pitching change coming from Reading, and that is Francisco Liriano. This pitching change brought to us by Life Storage. Francisco Liriano, a recognizable name, and much like Logan Forsythe that we talked about earlier, another veteran presence in this Reading locker room. And Bryan, Liriano, definitely a staple name in the major leagues for a long time. Thinking more of him as a starting pitcher that then transitioned to more of like a left-handed specialist, in this day and age with, we talked about last week with that phasing out. So, you wonder where the career of Francisco Liriano will go. Was obviously hoping for that one more shot, but has done more of the coaching aspect. But you flash back to the 2006 season where Liriano went 12-3 with a 2.16 ERA, 144 strikeouts, was an all-star, third place in the Rookie of the Year voting behind Justin Verlander and Jonathan Papelbon. Obviously, those two also having very good and strong careers. Liriano, a strong pitcher in the big leagues, never really quite had a year that he was able to put together back in 2006. But overall, a very strong starting pitcher for years for the Twins, and then had that transition to the bullpen. And another guy that just kind of injuries caught up with him.
Yeah, I do remember that 06 dominance from Liriano, which was incredible to watch. Like you said, 12-3. It's as a rookie as well to put that together. You see these guys coming in and a rookie pitcher is a ball there in foul territory, tracked down by the right fielder Nick Martini, and a quick 2 outs here for Liriano. And that's a big thing to do as a rookie, even as a vet, to come out there and blow away MLB batters like that, but to do it as a rookie. And he was quite dominant that year. And yeah, unfortunately, the injuries caught up to him, and had a great career as a starter, and then when wasn't able to really put it all together, transformed to the bullpen, which you see some pitchers start to do nowadays to kind of prolong their career just a little bit to get a couple more years under the belt here.
Yeah, you think of a guy like Liriano, and you think about that 2006 year, and obviously the Twins were thinking, okay, we have a long-term ace here. And I had a conversation with my dad just the other day about Blake Snell. Blake Snell obviously had a dominant year 2 years ago, got hurt last year. Obviously a guy that the Rays think they're going to have for a long time, but you just never know, right? You never know when a guy catches fire and then the injuries creep up with him. And Snell obviously had those injuries, and we wish him the best as he comes back and tries to get back to that Cy Young form. But a guy that you wonder if Blake Snell could be the Francisco Liriano type.
Yeah, Blake Snell, what a performance he's put on so far, as well in his MLB The Show as well. A great MLB The Show player Blake Snell is, that he would follow along with the MLB player competition, as we see a pop up here. And that's going to do it here in the bottom of the 7th. We'll bring the 8th to you shortly. Trent Thunder up 5-1 in the Eastern League Division Series Game 1.
Welcome back, Trenton Thunder fans, to Thursday Night Thunder, presented by Robert Wood Johnson, as we pick up action here in the top of the 8th inning. Thunder leading 5-1, looking pretty good here, but obviously need some shutdown innings. And Bryan, as we went to break, we were talking about the MLB The Show, and obviously we've been doing Thursday Night Thunder on MLB The Show, playing the games as the Trenton Thunder. Major League Baseball has been doing their own. Blake Snell obviously thriving, but did you see the home run derby they're looking to put together with classic players mixed with modern day players? Looks like it should be a lot of fun, and just something, another aspect of this esports that's really taken off since the pandemic hit. But that should be a lot of fun. You know, the MLB All-Star Game and MLB Home Run Derby is always fun, so cheering on some of these new versus old stars should be a lot of fun.
Yeah, it'll definitely be fun to watch. You know, you're gonna have your Mike Trout, your Aaron Judge, and then you're gonna see guys like Barry Bonds and you know, guys, some older guys that, you know, maybe we saw, maybe we didn't get to see, maybe the younger generation who are growing up with Mike Trout and Aaron Judge. You know, guys like Bonds who they never saw before. So, you know, it would be it'll be entertaining for sure to see what MLB puts together. I'll be excited to watch that.
So Bryan, you know, new, old, you have to pick one guy to represent you at the Home Run Derby. Who are you going with? Who would be your guy? You know, even if you haven't seen him, just seen, you know, games on TV of him, or if it's somebody that's playing in Major League Baseball right now, who is the guy that you're going with that you're saying, this guy's giving me the best shot to win the Derby?
Wow. So many choices out there. And, you know, now I sit here and think about past Home Run Derby and thinking about just that together. And, you know, I think back to the Josh Hamilton year at the old Yankee Stadium and what a show he put on. You know, he would be one I would put towards the top as, you know, a guy that's there to thrive and just that's going to blast him out.
Absolutely, and two quick outs here in the top of the 8th, and I tend to go more modern with you as well. And I think back to Cespedes, just like a 2-year run I think he had in the Derby, as we see a ground ball shortstop field by Kyle Holder, and that's going to be off the bag. Pulled Wagner off, so an error there from Kyle Holder, which we don't see too often. But yeah, in a you know, one-time Derby, you know, you would think, okay, Barry Bonds, Hank Aaron, the leaders in MLB home runs, but my mind goes to a guy that's like Bree Sweeney. You know, so is Cespedes, of Vlad Guerrero, junior or senior. Give me either one. You know, they're probably launching balls out of here. So, you know, but I think back to Cespedes in that home run derby, and he just had the mentality. He has the swing to get it done, and, you know, maybe not like the names that we were talking about, like Trout and Harper, but a guy that I think could just get it done in a, you know, one-time winner-take-all, all-time home run derby bracket.
Yeah, Cespedes did put on a show a few years back when he took home his crown. You know, and again, not a big name really when you think of home runs, but you know, a guy that is kind of carefree swinging, goes up there. He enjoys just swinging the bat. So yeah, he's definitely someone that would put a run for the money against, you know, all these greats and future greats.
Yeah, I'm thinking about a guy that's not really going to get in his head, and, you know, a free swinging guy that's going to just go out there and not mess with his swing, as we see a deep fly here to right field, but that'll be handled, and that'll do it here for the top of the 8th. So Thunder getting closer, lead 5-1 as we go to the bottom of the 8th inning. Next up, some Thunder trivia. All right, Trenton Thunder fans, our final trivia question of the night. Playoff trivia brought to you by the Chrohn and Colitis Foundation. But first, our last trivia question revealed which Thunder player stole home in the 2019 Eastern League Championship. That would be none other than Mr. Hoy Park. And now our final trivia question of the night, once again presented by the Chrohn and Colitis Foundation. Which two pitchers had a combined no-hitter in the 2017 Eastern League playoffs? Again, which two pitchers had a combined no-hitter in the 2017 Eastern League playoffs? The answer will be brought up at the end of the 9th inning. And now we head back to Thursday Night Thunder. And welcome back, Trenton Thunder fans, to Arm & Hammer Park for Thursday Night Thunder, presented by Robert Wood Johnson. As we see Chris Gittens get into the box here in the bottom of the 8th inning, Francisco Viriano will continue his work on the mound, and Thunder getting closer to capitalizing here and taking Game 1, leading 5-0. We haven't seen winning ways here on Thursday Night Thunder in a while, so it's good to see the lead. But an insurance run might be nice here. It won't be a save situation as we go into the top of the 9th, but I'm sure Thunder bullpen has been working. A lot of good arms out there. We see right now Caleb Port and Brooks Kriske both warming up out there. But Gittens here working the count, and just like all night long, Thunder bats are working the count and getting into real hitter situation.
Yeah, the Thunder have done a great job against these Reading pitchers, getting them deep in the counts. We've seen a lot of full counts, a lot of foul balls here, as guys are just fighting away in the box to get the pitch they wanted, and it's the reason we've on to the third pitcher of the game for the Frank Bills already.
And Bryan, we were treated to a rehab start tonight from Luis Severino. Obviously we've talked about tonight, he is a staple in that 1-2 punch with Garrett Cole. And then the veterans in James Paxton and Tanaka, as we see Gittens work a walk here, making sure it was a ball. It was definitely a close pitch, but he will make his way down to first base. And we talked about the free agency plans and speculation of the New York Yankees. This offseason it'll be an interesting one, especially depending on what happens, with the 2020 season. But there's going to be some questions with the Yankees starting pitching. Paxton and Tanaka will both be going into their free agent years, as we see a hard bunt ball, but that Way Park going to beat it out for his third hit of the night. And the Thunder are threatening here with runners on first and second with nobody out. And Brandon Wagner into the box, but Paxton and Tanaka obviously free agents. There is youth waiting in the wings with Debbie Garcia, Clark Schmidt, being two of the big time names that could be ready to step in. But as a championship caliber team year in and year out, are you willing to go with necessarily two guys right into the rotation, very young? Obviously, Debbie Garcia only 20 years old. Would you be looking to add maybe a third guy? Are you going back to Paxton, Tanaka? What kind of would you do? What would your plans be if you were Brian Cashman?
Yeah, that's obviously a tough decision. You have Paxton and Tanaka, able to walk away if they choose. And, I think the best scenario is for Cashman to get one. And I personally, I loved the deal of bringing James Paxton over from Seattle, but Tanaka has been so great ever since he came over from Japan, was a big deal when the Yankees made that signing of him to get him here. And I would love to see Tanaka stay in pinstripes for a few more years, and then you start to look at the rest of that rotation, and we've had some glimpses of some Jordan Montgomery as Wagner pops one here to center field, and it's not going to be enough to get Chris Gittens over to third base, and so there's one away here in the bottom of the eighth. And you have Jordan Montgomery kind of waiting there, and it's kind of been up and down and dealt with a little bit of injury last year, and I think some people kind of forget because of his situation, but the Yankees still have Domingo Germán. Besides what he did in his personal life, on the baseball field was absolutely dominant last year, and borderline, probably would have been borderline all-star, and he was absolutely dominating last year. And so when he fulfills his suspension and is back to playing baseball with the Yankees, he's another guy that you can throw right into that rotation with Garrett Cole, Luis Severino, and Tanaka or Paxton. And then you kind of figure it out with Garcia or Clark Schmidt, or Adonis Rosa we've seen a little bit of down here, and as we see Kellen Deglan strike out there to put 2 away here for the Thunder. So, the Yankees have a lot of options on what they can do in the starting rotation, and not necessarily anything they have to really go out and get.
Yeah, I think I definitely agree with you on the Tanaka. One would just be weird to see him in anything other than Yankee pinstripes. And, there are definitely some interesting names on the free agent market that'll be out there. A guy like Trevor Bauer, who's exciting if you see a fly ball hit here to center field, and that is going to be tracked down and caught. So that is going to be the final out here in the 8th inning. We'll pick this conversation right up after this. Thunder trail 5-1 as we finish 8th. And welcome back, Trenton Thunder fans, to Thursday Night Thunder, presented by Robert Wood Johnson. To start the 9th inning, Thunder are going to go to the bullpen. We're going to see a pitching change brought to us by Hamilton Golf Center. We want to thank the Hamilton Golf Center for their continued sponsorship of the Trenton Thunder. But the pitching change will be Caleb Ort as he looks to slam the door with a 4-run lead. And Bryan, Caleb Ort, just another one of those arms that the Thunder had the luxury of going to.
Yeah, we've talked a lot about Ort here on Thursday Night Thunder. So, one of many in that Thunder bullpen here to get 3 outs and take Game 1 here of the Eastern Division Championship Series.
Absolutely, an exciting night here for us here as we lead 5-1 here in the top of the 9th. So we need 3 more outs to go. And just to conclude our conversation that we were having last inning about the potential starting pitchers that could be on the market for the Yankees to go get. I mentioned a guy like Trevor Bauer, but there's also guys, a big rumored pitcher last year was Marcus Stroman, who was out there. And I think the name that is going to actually generate the most buzz when it comes time to it is a guy that was, has flown a little bit under the radar in Robbie Ray, left-handed pitcher on the Diamondbacks. He's only 29 years old. Remains a trade candidate, I think, as we get closer to a potential trade deadline this year or depending on what the situation looks like. But, he finishes in 7th in the National Cy Young Award in 2017, has had trouble giving up runs, but a strikeout machine. Definitely a guy that you could see getting a big contract and eventually, hard to believe saying that he's priced out of New York, but after you commit to a big contract like Cole, the Yankees aren't necessarily going to be looking to lock in, a big-time contract to another starting pitcher. But just a few names that are out there on the market. I agree with you. I don't think any of them end up in New York. But the starting pitching market definitely not going to be where it was last offseason, but some intriguing names out there.
Yeah, and you look at where the Yankees are, and they're not going. They're not looking for an ace. They're not looking for a 2. With Cole and Severino, and if they are able to bring back a Tanaka or even a Paxton, you have your 3, and now you have some tools between an Herman and Montgomery or a Debbie Garcia or a Clark Schmidt that can play your 4 and 5 role if they don't want to go out and spend the money and they want to allocate it somewhere else. And like I mentioned a little bit earlier, John, they're going to have some big guys to pay on their team already, and the young guys of Judge and Glaber and Gary. So they got to be careful of where they're spending a little bit, and they have a lot of money invested into Cole, which is a good thing to do. As a ball in the dirt here, a great block by Deglan, and the runner will not be able to advance. But they have the options and the tools down in the minor leagues that I don't think they really have to go out and grab a starting pitcher if they really don't feel it's necessary.
Yeah, and you think too, as we've seen in many years, guys go out and test the free agent market, and then that monster contract that they're expecting isn't there, and they end up settling for, they get paid certainly, but it's just on a 1-year deal. We will see a pop up here, and Caleb Ort's going to get out of what was a 3-0 count with a nice little pop fly. So 1 away here for Caleb Ort, and Thunder are 2 outs away from taking a commanding lead, a 1-0 lead in this series. But before we conclude tonight's game, we do want to reveal our final trivia question of the night, which was presented to us by Chrohn's and Colitis Foundation. Which 2 pitchers had a combined no-hitter in the 2017 Eastern League playoffs? The answer to that question was Justice Sheffield and Taylor Widener. So thank you to everyone for playing trivia here tonight. And we definitely want to thank our sponsors, Founders Brewery, Waste Management, Princeton Mercer Regional Chamber of Commerce, and of course the Chrohn's and Colitis Foundation, as well, of course, Robert Wood Johnson for presenting tonight's game, and our lineup sponsor, Special Olympics of New Jersey. And our pitching chain sponsors tonight, Imperial Dade, Crown Trophy, Life Storage, Hamilton Golf Center, and the Burlington County Regional Chamber of Commerce. We want to thank all of our partners. Obviously, they're a big part of what we do. And Brian, as we continue here, another 3-0 count for Caleb Ort.
Yeah, he has had a little bit trouble here to start this inning off, and he's going to issue a walk. And that's not a good start for Ort, and it looks like the Thunder coaching staff isn't happy about it either, and they're going to go to the bullpen once again, and here comes the closer, Brooks Kriske, in to shut the door here on the Reading Fighting Phils.
Yeah, and this pitching change, of course, brought to us by the Burlington County Regional Chamber of Commerce. We want to thank them for their continued support of Trenton Thunder baseball. But Brooks Kriske, no stranger to Thursday Night Thunder. We have seen him slam the door on teams, and obviously coming in here with a challenge of first and second with 1 out, but needs to shut the door. Caleb Ort clearly just not having his command here tonight. I believe we saw 12 balls to 1 strike. So obviously not what we wanted to see out of Ort. And now Brooks Kriske in a bit of a jam.
Yeah, Ort just had a little trouble finding the strike zone here tonight. Has a first pitch swinging against Kriske, and that's going to load the bases here for the Reading Fighting Phils in the top of the 9th with 1 out. And some trouble looms here for Kriske on that first pitch, right on the inside side of the zone. But Conley and Quintero was able to just inside out it right past under Wagner's glove, and here comes the DH, Rafael Marchand.
Yeah, and really not a bad pitch there from Kriske. Kind of, like you said, he put it kind of where he wanted it, and just a ground ball that Wagner couldn't come up with. Fortunately, it wasn't hit hard enough to get the run home from second. But yeah, Marchand, obviously a potential prospect here for the Phillies, catching prospect that's DHing here tonight, and has DH'd on Thursday Night Thunder before. But they flipped the lineup over. Some big bats coming up here. Marchand, the 7th prospect in the Phillies organization, and another 2-0 count. And the Thunder relievers really just struggling to throw strikes here. Not something you want to see. They've played a really great game here tonight after 2 back-to-back losses on Thursday Night Thunder. You get into the playoffs. This is not what we want to see to slam the door here, as we see a bloop single over the glove of the third baseman. That ball is hit and not going to be deep. Going to score 1 run, and it's going to be 5-2, but the bases are still loaded with only 1 out, and we're in a bit of trouble.
Yeah, now comes up, the leading run the go-ahead run in Nick Martini to the plate with only 1 away. So a hard-hit ball or a well-hit ball into the outfield could, put this game, tie this game up, and then we could be looking at some possible extra innings.
Yeah, certainly not what we wanted to see here. You go into it 5-1, you're pitching great. Severino pitched outstanding here tonight. Yafore really picked us up in the 6th inning and continued on. And now, but this ball is grounded to second. Hoyt Park over the holder. Holder fires at the first, and that's a double play. And just like that, Bryan, the game is over, and the Trenton Thunder have taken a 1-0 series lead.
A great ground ball given by Brooks Kriske, and just what you needed there. And Park fields and tosses it over to his shortstop mate and Kyle Holder, and is able to end the game here on a double play. So the Thunder win Game 1 of the Eastern League Division Series, a score of 5-2. And, Thunder looking good here to lead this series off.
Absolutely, and we want to thank Robert Wood Johnson for presenting Thursday Night Thunder. And with this win, we'll be back here again next week and with some more playoff baseball. Really looking forward to it and helping the Thunder along, and as we look to capture our back-to-back championship runs. But we want to thank all the fans for coming out tonight and joining us. Again, thank you to Robert Wood Johnson and Special Olympics New Jersey for their presentation of Thursday Night Thunder. I'm John Bodnar. Brian Rock will sign off here tonight with a big Trenton Thunder win, 5-2.